Starting the conversation about estate planning when your partner, yourself, or those involved don't really want to can be the biggest hiccup in getting started. So what do we do? Today, we're going to utilize the book, 𝘃𝘁𝘂𝗿 by Jonah Berger, with some simple strategies on how to start that conversation toward a functioning, valuable estate plan. Before I get into it, you should know that we had two 18-year-old fellas in our office this morning getting their incapacity planning complete for their first plan. If they can do it, so can you. I'm Valerie Zammitti of Zammitti Law, an estate planning attorney here in New York and New Jersey. We provide peace of mind to families through our high client value services. If you are in need of estate planning or administration services after someone's passing, you can reach out to us for a free consultation at yourplanningattorney.com. We'd be happy to help. And speaking of value, we are also always here educating everyone. So please ask questions and share so together we can help some folks along the way. Now, if we want to try to push past the issues of facing estate planning conversation and that resistance or avoidance that often occurs, and believe me, I've heard this where, the one spouse is ready to go forward, the other spouse is just reluctant and they just don't really want to approach these conversations. A few tips, and using the 𝘃𝘁𝘂𝗿 as our background here to help you move that forward. First quote being, change isn't about pushing harder or providing more information. It's about reducing barriers. Right? We're not trying to persuade someone to do it. It's trying to help them move past the fear of discussing their own demise. Not the fear of their own demise, but discussing their own demise. And believe me, when we get into a conversation, I'm not, saying, hey, when you die, right? We actually try to keep it lighthearted. My goal is always to have everyone laugh. And make it a comfortable conversation, a space where we can discuss these matters of life and death down the line in the future and what that would look like and how they would want to see that play out. Quote number 2 is, the more you try to persuade people, the more they push back. If this isn't a true statement, I don't know what is. But if you say, hey, let's talk about a will, right? That could just create that initial fear, right? That fight or flight. A lot of people just bottle up and they become either avoidant or defensive, and they don't want to really think about those things, either lack of control or, again, scared about their own mortality. So instead of pushing, talk through what outcomes matter most to you in your plan and what goals you would try to reach in having a plan for your loved ones, for yourselves and for your loved ones. And if you can envision what those goals are, maybe some of your needs, it's a lot easier to figure out the next steps to get there. Obviously, if you're working with a professional, they can assist you in pointing out some of the areas that you may not be aware of that should be focused on to protect you fully. And framing your estate planning as essentially preserving what you have already created, what you cherish most, rather than taking control away, can help in opening up the gates and having that conversation. Now, it is essential to kind of, shrink the distance between where someone is and where they need to go. A quote again from the 𝘃𝘁𝘂𝗿 is, when uncertainty is high, people tend to freeze. Very true. Estate planning is kind of an unknown to so many folks. So education in this field is essential. That's why we offer free consultations. We want someone to get an introduction to it as to what they would be looking at for themselves and their family to really insulate themselves and protect what they have built throughout their life. And it doesn't start with just saying, hey, here are all the things that you need to do. It's steps. And the very first step is figuring out, hey, who should we talk to? Just have a conversation. That's pretty easy. Or we could just start it out by saying, if I couldn't make medical choices, who's the first trusted person? Maybe it's the person you're talking to, your spouse. Those are pretty easy introductions in opening the conversation. It's also a good idea in all aspects to take a look at the Google reviews of the professionals you're seeking assistance from. It'll give you the peace of mind and show you that the value that was brought to others by doing their plan. And you can understand why it would be important to do those things. And flesh out, how it would make you feel if you had that plan in place, as opposed to nothing at all. You could turn even to your kids and your loved ones and say, hey, would you prefer to have some direction from us when the poop hits the van, right? We fall ill or pass, or do you want to just figure it out at the time? I would venture to guess most would say, yeah, let us know what you want. It'll make it easier for us, right? And of course, the person who is being, sort of resistant to this conversation, encourage them to verbalize the benefits of being prepared. And just to recap, right, some of the key points from the Catalyst quotes here, you want to try to remove the barriers for that person, reduce their uncertainty, and shrink the gap between the thought of what they're doing and what needs to be accomplished by taking smaller steps, right? First thing, schedule a call with an advisor. It's pretty simple. It doesn't have to all be resolved in one day. And it just takes that first conversation to allow that rock to start rolling. Hope you've learned something new here today. Again, I'm Valerie Zammitti of Zammitti Law. We're an estate planning practice in New York and New Jersey. And if you need some assistance in estate planning or administration after a passing, you can reach us at �10planningattorney.com. We offer free consultations and we'd be happy to help. Don't forget, share, and take care.